is May 16th. I'm Adam, and this is your daily dose of today. Today I want to speak about the importance of believing in your dreams. And that really extends to goals, yourself, and other things. And case in point is myself and what I'm doing here. I'll give you as a prime example. And even with all the feedback and everything that I've had, all the positive feedback, and sometimes I get multiple pieces of feedback a week, sometimes only one, but I keep getting this positive reinforcement. But as crazy as it might seem, there are days where I'm wondering why I'm even doing this. Who's even listening? Is anybody even listening? Does anybody even care? And when I sit back and look at that, right, I realize that's nonsense. It's kind of that FUD creeping back in. But it happens. And it happened to me. It can happen to you. And I consider myself, again, a reasonably successful person. There's plenty of people who are more successful than me. But, I could sit back and look at my life objectively and say, I've got a pretty good life. And so even with all the success I've had in other areas, I still struggle with it. Even sometimes in my job, where I'm very successful in my job, I'm very well known in my industry, in the area that I circle in, by all accounts successful. Sometimes I wonder to sit back like, I'm just a fraud. It's true. And I think it's reasonable and normal to have those feelings well up, right? Because we're a very complex being, a complex mind. And it's not about shutting those things out. It's not about saying, shut up, or that's stupid. But what it is about acknowledging that negative feeling, that fear, that depression, or whatever it is, acknowledging it, but then putting it in its box, right? Like, I recognize you fear. I recognize you uncertainty. I recognize you doubt. But you're right here. I'm going to deal with you, right? You can't shut it out, because what happens? It's still in your subconscious, even if you shut it out. People say, oh, you got to shut out that negative thinking. No, but you don't have to embrace it. So you acknowledge it and you deal with it. You cope with it. You put a plan in place to remove it. What helps you conquer fear? It's rational thought, right? So if you were afraid of the dark, like most people were, some adults are afraid of the dark, did you just one day say, shut up, dark, I'm not afraid of you? I mean, perhaps you did. For some people that works. But more than likely what happened is you begin to rationalize, like, oh, after so many times being in the dark, you're like, oh, see, like nothing jumped out from underneath my bed and murdered me, right? Because rational thought prevails. Everyone's like, it's irrational for me to be afraid. That's why we call them phobias, an irrational fear, right? So we use rationale to get out fear. With uncertainty, right, then we continue to, by practice, build certainty and to build to build certainty, right? So that way we know mathematically, probability, the outcomes, right, of success. That beats uncertainty, is pure raw math and proof. And what deals with doubt is confidence, right? So repeating the process over and over and over again. I don't know if I can deliver this speech. What do? Practice over and over and over and over again to yourself, in a closet, in front of people, in front of your spouse, in front of your friends. You do it over and over and over again, or you practice out in public. Do Toastmasters or something out over and over and over again until the doubt is gone. And you know what? Even though I've spoken in front of thousands of people, I've performed in front of thousands of people, I've sang in front of thousands of people, even though I've done all those things, every time I get up to speak, even though I feel like that's my element, like that is when I'm untouchable, before I get on that stage or before that happens, I am a complete shambles. Like in my mind, I am fighting the FUD. Fighting. Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Even though I've done it 1,000 times, so it creeps up, but what can I do? All those things, right? I fight fear rationale, like you're going to go out there, You're gonna do this. There's nothing to be afraid of. I beat the uncertainty of, like, you've done this so many times, you'll do it again. And I beat the doubt. I beat the doubt because, look, you're a practiced professional. You get out there, it's not a big deal. You deal with it. But you can deal with all these things. I can't just shut it out, because what happens is that just backs in your subconscious. If you're like really angry at somebody, you're like, oh, I'm just gonna not deal with that now. What happens? It eats you up all night long. If you go to bed, again, remember we were talking yesterday, if you go to bed, feared and upset and worried about something, like, oh, I'm just gonna put it out of my mind so I can go to sleep. You agonize and toil over it overnight long, right? So it's about being able to acknowledge, recognize, and deal with it properly. And that is how you continue to build on that success and how you continue to make forward progress. This has been your daily dose of today.